What's up, DC Nation? Back with another video on DCeased Deadplanet. Now, last issue, issue number 2, we saw pretty much the Shadow Pact, which is Zatanna, Blue Devil, Ragman, Bobo, which is Detective Chimp, Constantine, and Swamp Thing, go to Australia to pretty much save these people, because this whole garden is now pretty much surrounded by a ring of fire, surrounded by anti-life, and something is there that's really dangerous. And when they showed up, they were attacked by this Plastic Man. Alright, Plastic Man, which is now anti-life, it's pretty much like a zombie, it's super powerful, killed Blue Devil, killed Ragman, killed Zatanna. Well, didn't kill Zatanna because we actually find out in this issue that she survived, but still there's a lot of gory stuff that happened last issue at the end of it. We saw Constantine and Bobo just falling into all these razor sharp teeth that the Plastic Man had. So it was a very crazy ending last issue. But guys, I'm not going to recap everything else that happened. Like this stuff with like Akira and stuff, but you want to know everything else that happened like the past 2 issues, I'll link down below in the description my DCeased Deadplanet playlist, so you go check out that and then come back to this video. But guys, if you're all caught up, let's dive into this issue. In Australia, the Green cried out. Bobo says, Zatanna, are you okay? Can you breathe? And she says, yes. And Constantine says, are you an agent of the unliving? And she's like, no. And Constantine's like, good. That's what Zatanna says, what happened? And Constantine says, we got our asses kicked. And he's like, you had your lungs filled with anti-living Plastic Man. And that's when she's like, how am I alive? And Bobo's like, Blue Devil saved you. He didn't make it. Ragman fell too. And that's what we see, guys. Pretty much Swamp Thing saved them. We see all of them surrounded by Swamp Thing and Plastic Man trying to penetrate pretty much the green, right? And we see Constantine's like, we're in a ball of plants surrounded by a rampaging, shape-shifting monster besides a wall of hellfire, which is why we need you to wake up. And Zatanna's like, what are you proposing? And Bobo's like, we're next to a wall of hellfire. And Constantine's like, that stuff will burn through anything and anyone. And Zatanna's like, oh, I see. Swamp Thing, release the green in 3, 2, 1. She goes out of the green and she says, it's the flame. She gets out and you see Plastic Man, he gets controlled by the spell and gets pulled into the hellfire. So Plastic Man, pretty much the evil Plastic Man, is now dead. Or is he? I think he is dead. But if he's alive, that'd be pretty awesome because it's just an awesome idea. But we see him get taken down and the rest of the Shadow Pact make it down to the surface. Now they're just surrounded by hellfire and unliving, pretty much the anti-life, which that's pretty bad, but come on, Plastic Man was way worse. Like, he's one of the most powerful beings in the DC universe, and to be fighting off against him when he's evil, it's just, I don't even want to think about that. But still, what we see, guys, is Constantine comes to Ragman, he's like, sorry, Rory, and then comes to Blue Devil, he's like, Blue Devil said we should turn back. I said we shouldn't. That's what Bobo says. And Zatanna says, you couldn't have known. And that's what Constantine says, can we move this regret to somewhere else, like when we're not surrounded by hellfire and pretty much anti-life? And Bobo says, down! And that's when we see this gun. She starts shooting, guys, and Swamp Thing just steps in front. And he just gets shot like multiple times. He just brushes it off. Like, Swamp Thing is a beast, guys. He's just dope. Like, it's right here, imagine. You're out with these Shadow Pact people, you're like, holy crap, we're getting shot at. And you guys duck, but then you look up and you just see Swamp Thing just chilling. He's just chilling, getting shot out, and he's like, you done? That's it. But we continue, and what we see, guys, is you see Swamp Thing, he's getting shot, and Constantine is like, oh, who are these people who are shooting at us? Coming out of this refuge is Penguin, Maxwell Lord, and Simon Stagg. And Penguin says, oh, you can come with us, and you can hate us and still come with us, or you can hate us and stay here and die with all his anti-life. So Constantine and the rest of the Shadow Pact decide to join them, but we shift to the garden, the good garden where Poison Ivy is and where all the survivors are, and we see just Damian. He's sewing, and this guy comes up to him. I'm not going to lie, I never imagined Batman sewing. And then we see Damian's like, that my father was so dependent on Alfred was always a little embarrassing. Batman should be entirely self-sufficient. Batman should sew. And then we see Commissioner Gordon. He's alive, which is really cool. And Damian says, hello, Jim. And Commissioner Gordon's like, it's good to see you, son. And it's good to have a Batman back. And then, pretty much Damian's like, come over here. He hugs Commissioner Gordon. And Commissioner Gordon's like, your father wasn't a hugger. And Damian's like, oh, believe me, I remember it, but I'm not as emotionally stunted. We're just lucky Scarecrow never realized Bruce's greatest fear was intimacy. And Commissioner Gordon's like, Batman could have been chased out of Gotham by a supportive pat on the shoulder. And that's when you can see Dr. Fate. He shows up. He's like, Damian Wayne, Superman's healing was successful. Which, guys, so before we go on to Superman or Superboy, let's talk about this Damian Commissioner Gordon interaction. I really love this interaction. It's just seeing Commissioner Gordon be so happy that there's actually a Batman in this world. It's just really cool, and especially when Damian hugs him. It's one of the best moments in this issue. But as we continue, we see Superboy. He wakes up and he sees Krypto, and Krypto is just licking him. You know, he's happy to see Superboy alive. And we see pretty much Mary Marvel, and she reveals herself to Superboy, and Superboy's like, oh, you made it. And she's like, I did, but a lot of people didn't make it. And Superboy's like, yeah, I know. And he's like, where am I? And she's like, you're in the Tower of Fate, safe in Poison Ivy's garden. You were stabbed with a magical kryptonite sword. It was messy, but Dr. Fates really lived up to his name. And she's like, and I was able to patch you back together. And Superboy says, thank you. Now, before we move on, guys, I kind of ship this, alright? Mary Marvel and Superboy, I can see the relationship. If that happens in the series, I would be surprised, alright? Like, come on, we got Damian and Cassie. Like, that was very left field, but I actually liked it. Where here, we got Superboy and Mary Marvel, and just this quick interaction, I can see some chemistry, alright? You guys tell in the comments below, do you think Mary Marvel and Superboy should be a relationship in this series? No, maybe yes. You guys tell me, and I'll see how many. I actually may do like a voting poll in the community tab to see how many people actually think they should be a relationship. Because I think they do. But continuing, guys, we go back to the refuge, and pretty much this refuge is filled with all these pretty much rich people who just like abandoned a bunch of people during this whole apocalypse. And we see Simon Stagg, Maxwell Lord, we see Penguin, all these pretty much villains, right? And they introduce the Shadow Pact to this place. So like, welcome to the Southern Bunker. It's all quite civilized. We have our own soldiers. And he says, and their families are employed as cleaning and cooking staff. And Thomas says, you seem pretty proud of your slaves, Maxwell Lord. And Simon Stagg is like, their service is given in exchange for shelter. They're not slaves. And then Constantine is like, I can't believe you found a way to keep the class system in place through an apocalypse. And that's what Bobo says. This is like the Garden of Eden, but everyone who lives here is a snake. Now, I really like this line, guys. But then we continue, and Swamp Thing's like, the green is crying out here. It screams. Then we see Jason Blood. Comes like, he's like John Constantine. And Constantine's like, Jason Blood, of course. Rich Toss have to stay together, and that explains the Hellfire. And Jason Blood says, could we have a word alone? And that's when Constantine's like, what's up? And he then says, gone, form of man, rise the demon Etrigan. We see Etrigan show up, and Constantine's like, oh my gosh, like, please don't start rhyming. And Etrigan's like, why? And Constantine's like, I just lost 2 friends, I'm not really in the mood. And he then says, he's like, what is this for? And Etrigan's like, souls are locked inside pretty much the anti-life. Pretty much hell is crying out. Hell is mad, guys. Hell is going to show up on Earth and just destroy it. Because so many living beings are in hell, but they're also the anti-life, which that can't be. And Jason Blood then tells Constantine that Trigon is coming. And he says, Trigon is coming to wipe away everything. And we see this awesome image of Trigon. Constantine says, wipe away what? And Etrigan's like, all of it, the whole Earth. And Constantine's like, stop, that can't be true. And Etrigan's like, we won't get a chance to pretty much destroy Trigon. He's too unstoppable. And Constantine's like, sure, I heard that before. He's like, never. And then we hear a bang bang. We hear like gunshots, and Constantine's like, never a good sound. Then we see Swamp Thing getting shot at, and Constantine shows up. He's like, whoa, what's going on? And Satana's like, pretty much shocked. Satana's like, they imprisoned the Floronic Man to pretty much take over him. Like, he's a slave. Swamp Thing's trying to get the Floronic Man back because that guy is a part of the Green. So Swamp Thing's just protecting the Green. That's his job. So these people shooting at him are actually in the wrong. But what we see is Constantine says, Swamp Thing, these are some of the most selfish people alive, but people don't think of the Green like you do. Let's see if we can talk about this before we do anything we regret. And Swamp Thing is like, but this is the Green. They imprisoned a Floronic Man. And Maxwell Lord says, yes, listen to your superiors, Bush. And Swamp Thing says, you will release the Green, or I will do something else. And Maxwell Lord is like, I don't take orders from a walking houseplant. That's when we see Swamp Thing just kill Maxwell Lord, take off his whole head. Guys, this part actually shocked me, because I know Maxwell Lord is a huge character, but come on, I didn't see that coming at all. I thought he was just going to stay alive and be like, oh yeah, sure, or try to control Swamp Thing, but just for Swamp Thing just kill him like that, I was like, dang, Tom Taylor does not give a crap about who he kills off. He can be like, 1 second be like, oh yeah, this person's really powerful. The next second, they die. Or we have Maxwell Lord, which is like, oh, it's just another character. I don't think he'll die. It doesn't seem like that. But then he dies the next panel. I was just like shocked about it. This is probably one of those most shocking moments in this issue. But after Maxwell Lord is dead, that's when we see Constantine gets blood on his face, like, oh shit. And then we see Penguin's like, Professor Ivo. And Bo's like, Ivo? And Penguin says, it's time. And Ivo's like, yes, Mr. Cobblepot. So, Professor Ivo, who's the villain against Shazam, is working with the Penguin. And we see these Amazos, or Amazo, however you pronounce it, they come out and they start attacking. Constantine, Swamp Thing get attacked. That's when Zatanna sends one away. And Constantine's like, Z, they have more than just one. And all the Amazos just start attacking them, and Constantine's like, it's time to go. And Swamp Thing's like, no, they are abusing, they are torturing. And Constantine's like, Swamp Thing, we'll be back with a plan and we'll take them down. But for now, we have to go home. So they escape. That's when we see Simon Stagg and Penguin back at the refuge. And they're like, they'll return. And Penguin's like, it doesn't matter. And Penguin's like, we don't need to be here much longer, Stagg. They're almost ready. We'll take the world back soon enough. And we see all these Amazos, guys. So these certain group, Penguin, Simon Stagg, and not Maxwell Lord, but pretty much all these rich people are going to use these Amazos to just take over the world. So imagine you're the Justice League. You got the Anti-Life, you got Trigon Company, you got this pretty much this group of villains that are trying to unleash like something really evil on the world. It's like, dang, they can't catch a break, but it's gonna be really hyped for the next few issues. And the ending of this issue really gets me even more hyped, which we'll get to right now. What we see in the ending of this issue is the Shadow Pack makes it back to the garden. And we see Superboy is like, is the curse in you, Cyborg? And Cyborg's like, according to the anti-life equation. And Harley's like, can you feel it here now that you have a body attached to your head? Was it in that bit? And Cyborg says, no, I searched everywhere within me. I found nothing. And Harley's like, death could have just been lying. And Cassie's like, couldn't lie. And then we see Cassie's like, the lasso of truth compelled it. And we see Superboy is like, we know there is a cure. There are billions of infected people relying on us. We will find the cure. We will save them. And then we see Batman's like, if there's, or Damian Wayne, he's like, if there is an anti-life equation, Cyborg stands to reason there must also be a life equation. The trick is unblocking it. And then Bobo says, half of the equation was held by Darkseid. The knowledge of the new gods may be what we need here. And Cyborg says, Darkseid is dead. And Constantine says, yeah, look, I think I know what's needed. But it means doing something I really didn't want to do. It's bothering someone who would prefer to stay unbothered. And then he goes up to Cassidy. He's like, Wonder Woman. She's like, what is it? He's like, I'll need to borrow something, kid. And then he goes to Bobo. He's like, hey, Bobo, I need your help. So then Constantine goes to Superboy. Superboy's like, what do you need me to do? And Constantine's like, nothing yet, mate, but you're Superman. You'll probably need to save everything in the next bit. He's like, you're gonna have a big job coming soon. Then we see Constantine and Bobo, they transport to this house. And then they show up to the door, and this guy opens the door, and he's like, how'd you find me? And Constantine's like, world's greatest detective, and Bobo's like, hi. Yeah, Bobo, guys, Detective Chimp, he's the world's greatest detective. I don't know what you're saying Batman is, Bobo is. But still, before we move on, guys, there's actually one scene. It was actually the last scene when we saw Superman there talking to the whole group saying, oh, we'll save people. And Cyborg was actually monologuing, saying that how Superman is really inspiring people. He's taking up that role as Superman very well. And I actually really like that scene because it really shows Superboy as he's using that symbol of hope. And all these people need it right now. They're trying to figure out this cure. There's all these villains, anti-life, so many people are dying. And the best thing that you could get during this dark time is hope. And Superboy is just that. But guys, in the final page of this book, we see Mr. Miracle. And turns out Mr. Miracle actually teamed up with Constantine before, but Big Barda died. So that was actually really bad. So Mr. Miracle wants to stay out of all of this. But we see Constantine's like, I need your help saving the world. And he's like, that didn't work out so well last time. Constantine's like, what if I told you there was a way to save her? And Mr. Miracle is like, there's no way to save Big Barda. She's gone. Mr. Miracle's like, whatever con you're pulling, I won't be taken in. You're a walking bag of lies, Constantine. And Constantine says, look, that would be hurtful if it wasn't so accurate, but I promise I'm telling the truth. And Mr. Miracle is like, how can I possibly believe you? And Constantine's like, ask me. He has the last of the truth. And then he says, there's a cure, Scott. And Mr. Miracle is just shocked. And Constantine's like, we can save her. And then Bubble says the cure is in Cyborg, but we can't get to it. We need apocalyptic knowledge. And Mr. Miracle's like, you need my mother box. And Constance says, we can ask your mother box, but I'm guessing the only answer we'll get is ping ping. And then Mr. Miracle says, what do you need me to do? And Constance says, first up, I need you to take a bath or a shower. I just need you to look presentable. And then he says, then we need your help stealing the throne from a god. So guys, what this means is they're gonna go try to steal the throne of Orion, one of the new gods, which is really cool, but also try to get the help of Orion to try to pretty much search into Cyborg and find the cure to all his anti-life. So it's really cool, guys. I think we're like halfway through the series now, so I think it's like a six issue series, but being halfway through, there's so much that's happened, but also so much stuff has been set up that gets me so hyped, guys. Trigon, this new villain group with Penguin, Simon Stagg, now Maxwell Lord, he's dead. Also, the thing about the Cure, with pretty much them going to the new gods now. Constantine's a great character in this issue. Bobo's awesome. Superboy, Damian, Commissioner Gordon, all these great characters. But the best thing that Tom Taylor does is character development and pretty much showing these characters how they're supposed to be. He writes them so well, and that's why I really love Tom Taylor as a writer. Like, he's really great, guys, in his Injustice comics, in this comic, and yeah, I'm really excited for the next few issues. Now, that's why I'm gonna give this issue an 8.5 out of 10. I thought it was solid, guys, and I recommend you check it out. You guys, like, comment below, tell me about this issue. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What was your favorite part from this issue? What is the thing that you're most hyped for the next coming issues? The thing that I'm most hyped for is Trigon. Like, come on. Imagine Trigon shows up and he gets taken control of by the anti-life. Oh my gosh, that would be so dope. Like I said, that'd be so dope, right? But still, if that happens, that probably happen like issue number 5 or 6. I'm just theorizing, right? But yeah, guys, like to give a big thumbs up on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe to my next DCeased Deadplanet review. And yeah, guys, thanks for watching, and peace out.